Welcome to Unhinged Magi!
Here we are again.
Yep.
Craziness.
We have an interesting topic that actually is kind of a trending topic today.
Okay, cool. I like trending topics.
Yeah, as I click around on YouTube, I see more and more videos. And you already know because you're looking right at the title.
Is it above my head?
I should have put it up there, actually. That would have been pretty good.
That would have been funny. All right, we're going to be talking about why I moved out of California when I've never been there.
Yeah, so in this case, it's actually me that moved out of California. And that's an important topic, I think, that needs to be addressed because there's an awful lot of people doing that these days. There's a big exodus, not just from California entirely.
Ah, the biblical exodus of California. I know I've read it from the Bible. Wait, what?
Did it say California?
I think
somewhere in the chapter of Matthew.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, there is an exodus that's happening from the larger cities in America, these large metropolitan cities, especially post-COVID, of people just exiting the cities. But that trend for California specifically has actually been happening for quite a while, and I'm actually a part of that. So let me give you guys a quick background. I grew up in California, and I was there until I finished college. And at the end of college, being a tech guy, there was job offers like all over the place, like all over the nation. You could kind of write your ticket, actually. And I even actually came to Austin, Texas. I interviewed with Motorola in Austin, Texas.
Oh, Motorola, okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
And but when I looked around the nation, what I was most focused on was like cost of living versus the income that you could actually make. And the most amazing thing happened, when I started to actually get offers from companies, I started getting offers from places outside of California for an amount of money that was about equal to what I could make in California. But then when I looked at the cost of living, in many other places, it was immensely less.
Of course.
And we're talking like around the year 2000, 2001, that kind of like time frame, right? So.
Uh-oh, the 2000 crisis.
Yeah. Put the Wayback Machine way back on like 20 years ago is what we're talking about. But the trends that exist today, they even exist today.
Y2K, it's going to kill us all.
Oh gosh, that was such a thing, wasn't it?
It was.
Remember that?
Yes.
Gosh,
I had to tell my parents that, no, the world's not coming to an end. It's just a bit. It's fine.
Many people actually really believed it. We probably have viewers that don't even know what we're talking about with Y2K bug.
Actually, that is true.
Do you want to explain it?
Okay, well, basically, you know how things count? Well, we were running out of bits and it's going to flip. So everyone thought that it was actually going to make everything stop, from plumbing to electricity to everything, because it's going to turn to zero. What are we going to do?
And that actually really was an actual concern, and it actually was legit in a lot of different systems. Because when they set up the date-time counters, they didn't allocate enough processor space and like bits in memory to count past the year 2000.
Yeah, but it really wasn't that big a deal. It was just some software kind of thing, and that's not a big deal. But most of everything is mechanical when it comes to pipes and plumbing and all that kind of stuff. People were saying that all your water is going to turn off and all the electricity is going to turn off.
Yeah,
but that's just wasn't going to happen.
For the very small number of things that actually were legitimately threatened by it, the mass hysteria that happened brought so much attention to it that most of those software bugs were found and fixed before the Y2K thing actually happened.
Did you have to fix anything?
I didn't personally. No.
I didn't have to fix anything on our end either.
No, I was like going through college when people were already like fixing those bugs pretty much.
It was pretty stupid.
Yeah, it was stupid. So anyways, this issue with California has been going on for quite a while. And so when I got these job offers, I actually ended up accepting one 500 miles away up in Portland, Oregon, working for Intel. And so that was like a big sacrifice, because my whole life was California. That's where my friends were, that's where my family was, and I had to kind of put everything on a back burner to chase opportunity effectively and move out of the state.
But it was scary.
It was actually scary. It was a very scary thing because I wasn't married. It was all by myself. So I was basically just like literally hopping in a car being like, see you, Mom and Dad, I'm gone. And then I moved 500 miles away and just started a new life. And
it's a whole new life
up in Portland. So, you know, there's a lot that has to be sacrificed. There's a lot you got to consider for those types of topics. And a lot of people right now in the United States are going through that exact thing for the exact same kinds of reasons, but there's more added into that bucket. It's gotten worse, I would say.
Yeah. Well, it's because the debt has increased over there, the taxes have increased over there.
Massive.
And it's just, you know, it's not worth living there.
And for anyone who says like, oh, there's no mass exodus out of California, there's an easy way to check, actually.
Check Texas, Austin. It's gone bananas.
That's true. You can actually just go to uhaul.com and you can try to rent a U-Haul from like LA to Austin and just see what that price is. And then go to the website again and do the exact same trip but opposite, say Austin to California.
That works?
Yeah, it does actually. And because what happens is a U-Haul, once it gets driven to an area, U-Haul has to pay people to bring all of those vehicles back.
Right.
And they want you to actually like be the person who brings it back. So they still want to charge you, but they really incentivize it. So you'll see a massive cost difference in an area where all the U-Hauls are ending up and from where they're actually exiting from. And so if you want to see that these things are true, you can just look at that. And right now, you can pause this video and go check, and you can see how true these things actually are.
Or you can stay here, watch it till the end while we juggle dogs.
Dogs. We've only got one dog, though, right now.
Yeah, well, it's easier to juggle with one dog.
I don't know where the other dog is. Oh, here he is.
There we go.
Here he is. Say hi, Stu.
That wasn't hi, that was a growl. Speak English.
He knows one word. So yeah, it's a real topic that actually needs to be discussed because people are facing these kinds of scenarios. And you probably remember also there was Campfire that happened in California like a couple years ago. And then there was a bunch of bonfires also. Yeah. There's an awful lot of people in California who their houses burned to the ground.
Yes. And
they got their insurance payment and they're like, I'm done.
We're out. Peace.
See ya. And they're out.
How do you blame them?
I don't blame them at all.
Of course.
Having been someone who lived through that, I don't blame them at all. And now the interesting thing is, I have a bunch of friends I went to college with, and when we like talk and we kind of like compare how our lives have gone, they have definitely struggled since they actually stayed in California and stayed in the Bay Area. They were basically just running an uphill battle all the time because they were making similar money, but their cost of living was so high, their expenses were so high. It was extremely difficult for them to kind of like get ahead of the game and actually make enough money to invest and do things. Like I actually know people that their net household income was $250,000 to $300,000 a year, and they're still renting. They still don't have a house. They still have nearly nothing for retirement.
It's renting?
Crazy, right?
Okay, that I didn't. Okay, so I don't clearly keep up with California. Really?
Yes.
That's absurd.
It's absurd.
How do you make $250,000 and you're still renting?
Here's how. I'm glad you asked that. If you guys actually want to see how crazy this is, do this right now. Go to Zillow.com and look at like Sunnyvale. Look at the house prices. Just say, I want a 45-year-old 3-bedroom house in Sunnyvale, and say it's terrible condition, right? But you want it to be close to where your work is. So pick something in Sunnyvale or Palo Alto, something like that, and like I'm saying, like a rundown 3-bedroom, 1,200 square foot house, and you will be shocked at the price.
How much is it?
Like around $2 to $3 million for a starter home that's like 40 years old, only 3-bedroom, 1,200 square foot, nothing, right? It's these insane prices, and then you look at the mortgage, and this is where that $250 doesn't go anywhere. You look at the mortgage. What is a mortgage going to be? Because a new kid out of school doesn't have that kind of money to put down.
No.
So you're borrowing like $3 million.
Yeah.
And if you're borrowing $3 million with nearly nothing down,
you have to have collateral and all that stuff. Otherwise, it's not going to work.
Yeah, and your monthly payments. There are people that have monthly payments on their homes of like $20,000 a month. That's crazy, but it's true.
Okay, so what about rent?
So rent is actually incredibly high also. I actually interviewed with Twitter years ago. They tried to bring me in and tried to like offer me a job, and so I started looking at what prices were like. I found a 400 square foot apartment which is tiny, right?
Yeah.
It's basically like a room with a toilet and a kitchen, and you sleep there too.
Maybe I'll tell them where I live.
Okay. So it was nothing, but it was within walking distance of the Twitter building, and this is in what year? This might be 2015 or 16, somewhere around there. When I looked at that 400 square foot apartment, it was $4,000 some a month.
Wait, whoa.
Yeah.
400 square foot.
Yes.
4,000?
Yes.
4,000.
See, that's it.
That's horse.
Because people people don't believe it. They don't believe it, and that like people
Because
don't know.
That doesn't happen.
It's crazy, but it's
How
true.
could it be that?
Because like when you want to when you're a tech guy and you want to live close to tech, especially like Twitter was is downtown San Francisco, and you want to live right there, the prices are incredible.
$4,000.
Yep.
A month.
Yep.
That makes absolutely no sense.
Exactly.
California shouldn't exist. What the hell?
That's exactly the point. And so the question comes up: how does anyone actually live there? If you have,
They don't.
So, well, here's what happens. A lot of people don't know this. This is why it's such an interesting topic. The way that a lot of young professionals can actually get by, here's one trick that they play. You'll get maybe 4 or 5 people that are all like successful professional people with salaries over 100 grand each, and they collectively will rent or buy a house, and then they'll each pay a section of it. Now, they can afford it. So if you're paying like $15,000 a month,
That's stupid.
split between like 5 people, you can now skate by with
Why
that.
the hell would you do that?
Well, because like
Because
that's
you're stupid?
well,
I'm sorry. I have to break in here.
it's crazy.
If you're living that way, you're an idiot. I don't care. That's dumb.
well, that's exactly why I moved. That was because I looked at that and I was like, this doesn't work, right?
No. So you're telling me that a whole bunch of people are going to go in together, buy a house.
Or rent it, yeah.
Okay, renting it, that's different. Buying
Right.
it, that's stupid.
Yeah. Well, because they see it as an investment.
No.
See,
That's not an investment. That's an argument waiting to kill your friends.
That's true. You're not wrong. I'm not disagreeing with you. We're
Don't
in agreement.
ever do that. Ever. Anybody who does that, don't buy a house with anybody else unless you're married. That's just
I'm
stupid.
sure it creates a plethora of issues, right? But that's one way they get around it. But then you got to realize what you're giving up.
Renting, completely different scenario.
If you buy a house or rent a house, like either one of those two scenarios, and you're paying this a massive fee, and you're crammed into a small place with other people that are like young, 20s, 30s kind of age professionals, you're giving up the chance to basically have like a spouse and kids and have the normal
I wouldn't let
family
anybody
life.
move. If any of my kids told me they were going to move to California, I'd forbid them from moving there.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
That's retarded.
It's
sorry,
crazy.
I shouldn't say that word. That's just...
It's crazy.
I'm old.
When people start to hear the actual facts, this is the reaction. And this is the thing. When I looked at it, when I graduated, it wasn't that bad. It's gotten worse since then. But there's like this house that we're in now. This house would probably be $5 million in California, literally. Like and it's crazy. So yeah, people don't understand. But anyways, the big point is that
doesn't make any sense.
California.
Are Californians just, kind of... Well, I don't understand. I'm still trying to gather this.
Like how it happened?
No. I understand how it happened. I understand there's a bunch of freaking debt. I just don't understand how...
part of it.
What kind of human would say, hey, you know what? I'm going to go spend $4 freaking grand.
Yeah. So the thing that happens is when everyone around you is sitting there saying this is a good plan, and people that you respect, other tech professionals that are very intelligent people, they're all doing it, and everyone thinks it's okay, it decreases your reservations. And so a lot of people that are in California have been in there for a long time. That's like normal to them.
So they're dumb.
Like they know, well, they're naive is what I would say.
Oh, okay.
So
I just go
they're
with the fact
intelligent
they're
people
unwise.
that are surrounded by groupthink. A bunch of other people that think if you buy a 1,200 square foot 3-bedroom house and you can nail that thing for $1 million, oh, you scored. That they think that, right? But they're not looking at it compared to like the rest of the area. Or maybe there's some people that do know how much cheaper housing and cost of living is in other places of the United States?
I am so baffled right now.
It's crazy. You see why I left? Because all my family was back there. And I need to like fly to go visit them.
I'm still trying to figure out how in the world that would even possibly cross anybody's brain.
Well, because that's their reality.
No, that doesn't make any sense. Even if they visit anybody else in the United States, they'd be like, wow, we're stupid. I mean, I'm not...
I got
do they not? You have 4 people that
I got
live
4 letters for you. FOMO.
FOMO?
FOMO.
FOMO?
Yep.
What the hell's FOMO?
FOMO is the fear of missing out. Because these people, like, they look at it and they think, well, I'm going to pay $1 million for this house. And then next year it's going to be $2 million. So is it crazy? Yes. Is it going up? Well, here's the craziest part. For a long time, it actually did. There are people that literally bought a house for $1 million, and then a couple years later, it is $2 million. So technically, it did actually work out. But you know that doesn't help you at all unless you exit at like the top of a market, right? I mean, if you bought a house for $1 million and it goes up to 3, and then you sell it and you move to Florida, for instance,
well, that's called
then
flipping.
that worked.
That's called flipping. That's fine.
Yeah,
I'm still talking about the people renting a $4,000 for 400 square foot.
well,
Flipping a house, I have no problem with. If you have speculation on a market and you know that the city is expanding and you buy a place at a certain position and you know it's actually going to go up in value within the next year and a half, that's when you're doing a speculation and actually doing a real estate deal.
Yep.
I'm talking about morons that are sitting in a house, renting it at $4,000 a month. That's insane. But you're telling me that people, FOMO is missing an opportunity. They find a house that's $1 million, don't even do any research and just buy it.
Well, they did do some research. They did do some. And everyone around them and their realtors, so many people they're surrounded by,
okay, first off, don't ever trust a realtor.
Yeah,
okay?
correct.
Number 1 rule in real estate, don't trust a realtor. You know what a realtor wants? Commission.
Yep.
That's all they care about. They want to close. They don't own the house, all right? Don't trust their research. Do your own research. 100% always.
I've had a lot of realtors come in when I'm buying or selling, and they just try to like just drop the price to get the sale.
Exactly.
Like they don't care.
Exactly.
They'll easily give up my money. They just want to get the sale moving
Exactly.
so they can move on to the next mortgage, right? Or
Right.
the next sale.
Yeah. It's all about. It's just like car sales.
Yeah.
You don't realize that, but it is. They might say, "Oh, you're gonna love this house. It's so special." There might be dead rats, but look at the carpet.
Yeah.
There's mold underneath the house because one of the fans is missing. Don't worry about that. That's an easy fix.
And so this is one of the problems. Like when you have any market that's gone into Crazyville for more than like 8 years, it gets very hard to argue against people that think that's going to continue because for the last 8 years, that's all that they've ever seen. And then 2 more years goes by when you've been telling them you got to get out of that market. And they're like, man, I made so much money. You've been wrong for 2 years. And then they have no idea how crazy they are. Then the whole thing crashes and it's like, I didn't see that coming, right? But when you understand basic finance and you look at like incomes versus cost of living, then it doesn't make any sense. And that's what I literally did in 2000.
I assumed everybody always, when they try to get a job, look at cost of living.
They look at it relative to the other areas they're going into.
Yeah, that's what they should do.
So what they're not...
I assume that everybody does that. Currently not Californians.
They're not looking at it like a house in Sunnyvale versus a house in Houston versus a house in Orlando or something like that.
Well, you also have to versus food and electrical and, well, actually money flow as far as tourists and that kind of stuff too.
Yep.
And it's also whether you can change the job within the actual industry in your field in the area. Because if I'm living in, let's say, Death Valley and I get fired from that one particular job and I can't find another job, that means I just have to move again. So you actually have to make sure that there's other opportunities out there. Otherwise, you can't switch to a job.
Yeah, I experienced that actually firsthand. When I was working at Intel, there was times where, like, you guys heard about Intel doing layoffs. I never got laid off. But there was times where Intel did layoffs and stuff. But that was like, thank you. That was a threat because like in that area around Portland, Oregon, Hillsboro specifically, Intel is like that is like your tech game. And if you got laid off at the same time as 300 other highly trained technical professionals and you all go into the job market at the same time and Intel's the only company there, then that was a problem, right?
Yeah, it's a huge problem.
Yeah,
that's
so
why you never work where there's just one thing. That's it.
Yeah. So that actually ended up being such a threat. It was actually one of the reasons we eventually moved out of Portland.
Yeah.
Is to go into something that was more stable because there was some threat there.
However, if you do go into that situation, when you sign up to actually work there, always make sure you have an exit contract written before you sign to actually be employed there. That way, when you exit, you get that money that is supposed to be due to you anyways.
So the big message that I wanted you guys to
negotiate in every job. Sorry.
There's that. The big message I wanted to make sure that people heard in this video is that the exodus of California is real. It's not going to get better in that state because the things that have to be done in order to get better are not actually happening right now. In fact, they seem to be getting worse. You see taxes going up, not down. You see the cost of living continuing to go up, not down. Now, maybe this exodus and all these vacancies will have a big impact. We're kind of waiting to see how that's going to go.
Well, you're going to have a real estate crash. That's for dang sure.
That does seem to be in the cards, especially for the Bay Area, kind of Sunnyvale, San Francisco, Silicon Valley kind of area. Might have a reckoning coming, which is probably 2 years out because housing can't drop like a stock market can, because it all comes down to appraisals.
Depends on how many people leave at the same time.
It does. Yeah, there is some of that. So, anyways, I just wanted to mention.
You shot the crud out of me.
I did.
You didn't tell me any of that stuff before we started this video.
Sorry, that was all fresh. So anyways, that was the topic. I just figured that I should mention it because I am a part of that movement, even though I did it 20 years ago. It was for the exact same reasons. And I figured people should know that that is a real thing that's actually happening.
That is freaking insane.
He's stunned. Okay, thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Bye. See you next time.